Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, or if you've never seen me before, then hi, welcome. So in today's video, I'm going to be telling you about more than 10 books, okay? I don't know exactly the amount of books that I have for you guys today, but it's more than 10. They're all romance books, and that's because actually the day you're seeing this, I'm supposed to upload this on Valentine's Day. So if I did succeed and it's Valentine's Day today, happy Valentine's Day. I hope you're having a good day overall. You know why? Because even me, single, I enjoy Valentine's Day because it's just kind of like a self-care day for me. Actually, the point of today's video is that whether or not you have someone to celebrate Valentine's Day with, books are always there for you. Always, always. And so for me, I love to be in a romance mood for Valentine's Day, read like really feel-good romance books and just feel all the like romancy vibes because, I don't know, it's just kind of like fun to read about someone else falling in love. But anyways, so that's what I'm going to be talking about today. Just recommending you 10 plus books. They're obviously romance, but just like really feel good and like really sweet and honestly, books that made me believe in love. I feel like these books, most of them, the characters in these books, I feel like they're going to be together like truly forever and ever, like till the end of time. Those books kind of like give me hope. You know? So maybe it'll do the same for you. Yeah, let's get into it. Also, I don't know if you can notice, but I drew little hearts beside my eye. Little Valentine's Day inspired makeup. So just wanted to let you know that. But anyways, so as you can see, I have a stack, really tall stack of books here. And some others, I don't have them with me physically because I read them on my Kindle. So yeah, like I stacked them randomly, like honestly, these are in no order of preference or just like the one that I love the most, you know, like really just randomly. So first romance rec for this video is the Summer I Turned Pretty series. So this series is basically about this girl called Belly Conklin, and she would spend her every summer at this beach house which belonged to her mother's best friend, Susanna. Now Susanna has two kids, Conrad Fisher and Jeremiah Fisher. Belly Conklin and her brother, along with the Fisher brothers, really created this bond, and they all just got really close. But for Belly Conklin, one brother would always just be like in her heart forever, and that's Conrad Fisher. She's just always, you know, been in love with him, but there's this one summer where she kind of like glowed up, and so she's kind of like determined to get him to notice her. But that first book is just about that summer. It also includes flashbacks from like their childhood and like past summers, but throughout this series it kind of turns into something more. It turns into a love triangle, so it just gets more interesting. You also just really get to connect with other characters here. The friendship between Susanna and Laurel, which is Belly's mother, is just really, really special. Like this has all the summer vibes, and it's just a really feel-good romance series. And it got turned into a TV show. It's on Amazon Prime Video, and season 3 isn't out yet. It's gonna be out next summer. Really scared, even though I read all 3 books and I know what happens. They did a phenomenal job, the cast and Jenny Han and everyone else involved in the show, to like really portray it to life, you know, like they just did a really good job at adapting it. I love that show so much. It made me just love the books and the characters and the story that much more, so really recommend it. Next we have When in Rome by Sarah Adams. I love this book so much. This is about Amelia and Noah. Amelia is also known as Ray Rose because she is a world famous pop singer, and basically she just like needs to get away from everything. She's not happy with her life, with herself, so she's also a fan of Audrey Hepburn. She even thinks of her as her best friend, and there's this one Audrey Hepburn movie called Roman Holiday, and so she basically takes kind of like a vacation inspired by that movie, and so she goes and drives to Rome, Kentucky, because Rome in Italy is just too far because she has to go on tour in a few weeks, I think, few months. So she goes to the closest thing to that, which is Rome, Kentucky. And that's a small town. Okay, this is small town romance. This is dual POV. This is grumpy sunshine. And so in that small town, she kind of gets stranded. It's the middle of the night, it's dark, and her car breaks down. But there's this guy that like knocks on her window, tries to help her, and even offers his guest bedroom. I know, sweetest ever. That's Noah Walker for you. And Noah Walker, by the way, is a pie shop owner. Hello? Like, I love that man. But anyways, she's hesitant at first, but she accepts his offer. Yeah, they just spend time together. At first, like, Noah really pushes her away because I guess he has like this low opinion of her, but also just like pop star image, I guess, you know, kind of like the stereotype. And also because he just got out of a really bad relationship. But the more time he gets to know her, the more time they spend together, things change. It's so feel good, all the romance vibes. I just loved it. I loved it so much. The banter is just absolutely everything. everything. Trust me, like, you'll fall in love with these characters. Next we have Better Than the Movies by Lynn Painter. I feel like if you don't know who Lynn Painter is, let me tell you in one sentence. She is the queen of like rom-com books. This book is very rom-com-y. It has all the romance vibes. This also has Taylor Swift references and rom-com movie references, which just was the one thing that I loved the most about this book, because I am a rom-com girly, as well as, I can't say a Swiftie because I'm recently just like becoming like a fan of Taylor Swift. I really admire her and her music, and so I just really enjoyed this book so much because of that. Like, in each chapter it has like a quote from a rom-com movie, and so that I just loved. But anyway, so this book is about Liz and Wes. This is a rivals to lovers trope, but it's also childhood friends to lovers. And so basically Liz and Wes, like I said, they've been childhood friends, but Wes has always been the guy to kind of like annoy Liz, like tease her and all that. But anyway, so they're seniors now, and basically there's this guy that comes back to town, and Liz has always kind of like had a crush on him, and Liz wants him to take her to prom. And so she asks Wes, because Wes and the guy are like pretty close, to help her. In order for Wes to help Liz, Liz has to give Wes their like parking spot, because that's kind of like one thing they fought over like this whole senior year. But this book was just like the cutest ever. Like, everything Wes does and says to Liz is just absolutely everything. Yeah, Wes is just like the sweetest ever. Like, this book really tugged at my heartstrings, and the banter between them, so good. This is actually getting a sequel. It's coming out this year in October, I believe. It's called Nothing Like the Movies, because this is a high school romance. It's YA, and I believe the sequel is like them in college. Really, really excited. And so it's kind of like a sign for you to read this book before the sequel comes out. So the next book is The Sevene Slip by Ashley Poston. This book is about Clementine and Ewan. It's mostly about Clementine, like she's dealing with a lot. She recently lost her aunt. They were very, very close. So it mentions grief as well as other topics, but it does have romance. The romance aspect of this book, you'll just absolutely love. Why I think this book like really made me believe in love, because this book talks about like kind of like time travel, and so it's just like a love that like even overcomes all that, you know, time itself. Even in the past, even in the future, they find their way back to each other. Like I said, Clementine lost her aunt, and her aunt, when she passed away, left her apartment to Clementine. And so the day she finally moves in, she finds a stranger in her aunt's apartment. She freaks out, obviously, but then she realizes this stranger lived 7 years ago in the past. And she remembers a story that her aunt used to tell her about this apartment, that it was magical because it would take people 7 years ago in the past, or like in the future. But in this case, it's in the past. Part of the reason why she believes that is because the apartment is exactly how it was when her aunt lived there. And also, like, the calendar, the date is 7 years ago. So if that's not proof, I don't know what is. That's it, basically. She would step in the apartment and she would be taken 7 years ago in the past, and Ewan would be there, and so they just spend time together. The thing about this apartment is that like you can choose whether, if you like leave the apartment, to take you back or not. She's kind of like also determined to find him, you know, in the future, which is also the present. Trust me, you'll fall in love with these characters. You'll cry. It's like very emotional, but it's just very, very beautiful. And yeah. Next we have Archer's Voice by Mia Sheridan. I don't know why every time I think about this book, I want to cry. This book really made me believe in love because these characters are absolutely everything to me. And it's just a story that will also make you cry. You'll go through a roller coaster of emotions, but it's worth it. Trust me. Trust me. This is Small Town. It's also dual POV, and it's a slow burn. Like, come on. Like, everything I love in books. But anyway, so this is about Archer and Bree. Bree goes to this small town. Where is it? Okay, small town of Pelion, Maine. And she kind of goes there to also get away from everything because she recently went through a very traumatic event, and she basically bumps into Archer. Now, Archer lives in the small town, but he's like very isolated, lives away from everyone. That's because of something that also happened in his past with his family, and since it's a small town, like everybody knows everybody, so they all know like this version of the story that happened, and so they've just kind of left him alone. She bumps into Archer, but Archer cannot speak. He cannot communicate with anyone. Turns out, though, that Bree is the only one that can communicate with him. And so at first he kind of like pushes her away, but then he realizes that. That's why it's slow burn, because he just slowly lets her in and they start spending more time together. And after Bree kind of like asks about Archer to other people she's met in the town, she kind of gets their version of the story that happened. But the thing is that the truth? Like, is that really what happened? I don't know. You'll just have to read this book to find out. Archer is just like the sweetest ever. That man is absolutely everything. I love him so much. Anyways, read this book, please. Okay, next we have Love and Other Words by Christina Lauren. I've talked about this book enough. I feel like I always say one of my favorite books ever. It's just like a really comfort book for me. This book is everything to me. These characters I will think about forever, till the end of time, till the day I die, and I think truly, like you cannot fight me on this, that these characters will be together forever and ever and ever. It's about Elliot and Macy. This is a second chance romance, but it's also childhood friends to lovers, and it has a then and now timeline. Now, Elliot and Macy, like I said, childhood best friends, but something really tragic happened, traumatic, absolutely horrible, and so that caused Macy to stop talking to Elliot for more than a decade. I know. 11 years to be exact. In the now timeline, they bump into each other again, and basically, like, since the second Elliot saw Macy again, he's determined to get her back. Ugh. That man, love him so much. I truly hope and pray that there's someone out there for me like him. Also, one of the things I love most about this book is that the characters in this book love books. That's kind of like their love language. Anyways, yeah, that's basically it. Please read this book. It's just like the perfect book to read on Valentine's Day or just like throughout this month. Now, before I get to this stack of books, which is the Emily Henry universe, I'm gonna leave that for the end. Save the best for last, you know what they say? So before that, I'm gonna talk to you about the other books. Well, one standalone and the other is a series that I read on my Kindle. So first we have Out on a Limb by Hannah Bonham Young. This is an accidental pregnancy. Now, before you're like, okay, no, I'm not gonna read that book, please hear me out, because I also don't read a lot of accidental pregnancies, but trust me, this book is like the exception to that trope. This is about Win and Bo. They meet at like this Halloween party and they really connect instantly, and I felt it too. Like the instant chemistry, like the way they would interact with each other, talk to each other, it was just so easy between them. The banter is so good, and part of that reason is because they really connected because of their limb differences, and they just kind of like play off that, you know? And also like their costumes, like it was kind of like a couple's costume, accidentally, obviously. So they have a one-night stand. This is an accidental pregnancy. So Win finds out she's pregnant, and when she tells Bo, that's when everything changes, obviously, for them. But what I loved most about this book, and why I say it's an exception, is because their relationship was just so healthy since the minute they found out they were gonna have a child together, before they got to spend time with each other and before they got to figure out how they're gonna deal with this. Like, that's what they did, figure it out together, and they would just talk it out, you know? They would just communicate so well. They just worked so well as a team, and they just really were determined to do this together, you know, for their child. But yeah, that's it. It just was really sweet. Please read this book, okay? Don't lean away from it just because it has that trope. It's the exception. Just trust me on that. Okay, then we have a series, and it's called the Dreamland Billionaire series by Lauren Asher. Each book really touched my heart in different ways. Fell in love with the characters, connected with them. That's why, yeah, they'll always be here and here. Like, always, till the day I die. Anyway, so to talk to you about the series as a whole, so this is a billionaire romance. The Fine Print, which is the first book, it's a rivals to lovers trope. It's a workplace romance, and common trope in this series, grumpy sunshine. Let me just tell you that. Lauren Asher really made me obsessed with the trope. She really knows how to write grumpy sunshine. I'm so obsessed. Like, with the Kane brothers, really, they had me in a chokehold, and I think they still do. Now, Terms and Conditions, the second book, apart from Grumpy Sunshine, it's also Marriage of Convenience. It's also kind of like fake dating and workplace romance. And the last book, which is called The Final Offer, apart from Grumpy Sunshine, it's also a second chance romance. Other common trope, she falls first, but he falls harder, which is just like, love. So this series is about 3 billionaire brothers who were each left with individual tasks by their grandfather in his will after he passed away. Now the thing is, if they complete these tasks, they will each gain their share of the Dreamland theme park inheritance, because this series also has kind of like the Disney vibe, because instead of Disneyland, it's called Dreamland. But anyways, yeah, if they don't, their father gets their shares of the company. And that cannot happen because their relationship with their father isn't good at all, and so they just won't let him have it. And so yeah, each book, they just have to do that while falling in love, which wasn't planned at all. And also, since it's a series and it's about 3 brothers, this has found family, and I just fell in love with them so much because their interactions was just everything. They have like a family chat, and it was just so funny. Like, every time they would meet up, each time they just would have a scene together. I loved it so much. I loved their dynamic, the found family, and just like the love stories overall. Trust me, it's a series. Definitely will not regret reading. Okay, now getting to this stack. This is what I call the Emily Henry universe. These books are all written by Emily Henry, which I've talked about her enough. I don't need to go on a rant again, okay? But I just love her so much. I love all her books. I love her writing. Favorite author ever. All these books like just hold a very special place in my heart, and I just wanted to include them all because all of these really will make you believe in love. The love stories in these books are just absolutely one of a kind. Doesn't compare to anything else. I said what I said. So really quickly, let me go through each of them. Happy Place, it focuses on Harriet and Win. This is a second chance romance, okay? But this also has found family. It also touches on topics like friendship and how it just really is essential, necessary, important. I can't think of any other synonym to have those relationships, to keep them. But anyways, romance aspect of this book between Harriet and Win. They've basically been together since ever. Well, specifically since they met in college. But they have this really close friend group. They all believed like they would be together forever. But they recently broke up. They haven't told their friends yet. Now, their friend group has like this tradition to go to this cottage each year. For how long? Okay, for a week. They were like planning to not go at first, but this trip is different because it's their last one. The cottage is going to be sold, so they do agree to go. It also is fake dating because they're going to pretend to be together for that 1 week. They're like, we can do this, you know? We can pretend to be together and then we'll just move on with our lives separately. That's what they believe. Like I said, this book, these characters, absolutely everything. So this is just like a feel-good book, and it's Emily Henry. Come on, like she never misses. She never fails. Next, Beach Read. So this is a rivals to lovers trope, and basically it's about Augustus Everett, or Gus Everett, and January Andrews. And like I said, they were college rivals, and Gus is an author of literary fiction, and January is the complete opposite. She's a romance author. Basically, they find out that they're gonna be living next to each other in these like beach houses for the next 3 months. They're not too happy about that, but they both are going through writer's block, and so they kind of make this deal to write each other's genre, and basically the first to sell the novel like wins. But to help each other, they spend a lot of time together, and they basically go on like these little dates, and it's just everything. Like this book is absolutely everything. It also touches on other topics, like each of these characters are going through things. You just really get to know them so deeply. One quote that'll get you to read this book: "I feel overwhelmed that you exist." Hello? That's it. That's it. And we have People Meet on Vacation. So this book focuses on Alex and Poppy. This is a friends to lovers. It also has the one bed trope, and it's kind of like adventure romance. It takes place in various places all around the world. Poppy loves to travel. She's very adventurous, very outgoing, but Alex isn't like that at all. Like he is more like me. He prefers to just stay at home, read a book. But basically they became best friends, like really, really close, since they shared a ride home from college. Like basically, okay, I think they met at like orientation, didn't get along with each other at first, but then something happened in the car ride. Like they just really connected, the chemistry. Since then, they've just been best friends. But they don't live close to each other. But every summer for a decade, they've just taken 1 week together in a vacation, you know, traveling somewhere. And so this also has that timeline, like it tells you about those 10 summers, because 2 years ago something happened and basically it ruined their friendship and they haven't spoken since. Poppy right now isn't happy with her life at all, and I think she knows deep down that truly she's only happy or the thing that's missing from her life is Alex. So she convinces him somehow to take one last trip together, and she knows that this trip is her last chance to kind of like fix what happened between them, get him back. You know what I mean? So, love them so much. And lastly, we have Book Lovers. From all her books, I saved the best for last because this is my favorite out of all of them. It's hard to say that because I love all her books so much, so dearly. But this one is just extra special to me. These characters are extra special to me. I knew that since I first started this book, and when I finished it instantly, I just knew that in my heart, in my soul. Like this book touched my soul deeply, saw right through me. Nora, I could relate to her so much. In other ways, I just wanted to be like her. Like I admired her so much. So it focuses on Nora and Charlie. This is a rivals to lovers trope. It also has small town romance. Nora is a literary agent and Charlie is a book editor. And basically, since they work kind of like in that same field, they met each other but haven't gotten along at all. Like they don't like each other. Nora is kind of going through something right now, like with her sister. She's very work driven. She's just very ambitious. So that's kind of like partly why her and her sister have been kind of like distant lately. And so basically Libby convinces Nora to go to this small town. The thing is, when she goes to that small town, Nora bumps into Charlie. She's like, what are you doing here? She like tries tries to avoid him, but they just keep bumping into each other. And Libby, before they went there, they kind of made this list to achieve each of the things in the list when they're at that small town. One of the things, it's like save a business, and so they basically find this bookstore that needs to be saved, isn't doing too well right now, but it's worth it. And so that, for some reason, which I won't say, kind of obligates Nora and Charlie to spend time together. The banter in this book. Emily Henry's banter is absolutely everything, okay, but in this book, it's just, wow. Obsessed. I think about these characters all the time. In the back of my mind 24/7, and they will be till the day I die. I've decided now, I want to get buried with this book. Yeah, bury me with this book. If my family's watching this, bury me with this book. Because it's just everything to me. Like, I can't explain it. Truly have no words. So special. Charlie, that man is the standard. I truly can't. I think he's the reason why I will never find love. Truly, I don't think men like that exist in real life. But please, read this book if you haven't yet. I beg of you. If there's one book that you're gonna read from this video, this one, okay? Anyways, guys, so that means we've reached the end of this video. I hope you got some good romance recs out of this video. I hope you'll read. You know what? I want you to read every book I recommended in this video because I love all these books. But if you don't read every book in this video, and if you only read some, if you only read the last one that I recommended, I'll still be so grateful that you listened to me and decided to read it just because I recommended it. And so that alone will make me very happy. That's my goal. If you only get to read one book, I succeeded. But yeah, subscribe if you haven't yet. And I guess that's all I have to say. See you guys in my next video. Bye!